Medusa. The S is for soup and the G is for geek. Every time I close my eyes, I see ops when I sleep. But when I wake up, I see pussy niggas dead in the seas. Blind nigga, even Stevie Wonder could fucking smear. Louis took a trip out of town for a bankroll. He low key. All he really wanted is the pesos, a book bag. All he really for was some Dracos, an AK. If I see it, I did he take those. 2K, I'll take a perk on a Tuesday. Doomsday, I just do whatever fuck my moves say. Lambo, Bentley, like bitch, I want a moose.
Trapper turn smack rapper. Only smack rapper that you know is smack rapper.
Black people have to see themselves differently. We have to become like super beings during this time. That means physically, mentally, spiritually. We got to be in a whole nother place. But how do you do that if we can't even pay attention? And we fighting over the smallest things on the planet. So it's like, man, I'd be so frustrated thinking sometimes like, how do you get a message to a people who can't even think and pay attention right now?
Well, there's a reason it's important to you. They haven't found the reason of why it's important to them.
And they won't. So you find a common denominator that they care about, right? I might be, my will to find truth is almost like a megalomaniac's will to power, right? I have a will to influence people. If you look at certain psychology, I understand myself very well. It makes me feel good learning information and sharing it with others. That's just how I'm made. So I don't even look at it like it's a superior moral position, because if I had the will to just think about money, then I probably would just focus on that. But that's just not how I'm made. So I focus on what I think I can be the best in the world at. The problem, though, is that it's detrimental to the culture when we have some people that we exalt all the way up here. But if we watch them our whole entire lives, it wouldn't make us better as a people. Right? If we consumed every product they put out, we'd still be in the same position. Then you have other people that we're not paying attention to as much. But if everybody followed this model, we would switch things overnight. When Donald Trump got in, he said first 100 days. They put a timeline on that to shift the whole entire world. Our response should have been, okay, that's what our first 100 days is. So if you got a plan, we go disrupt that. Now you got to respond to our plan, right? Systems only care about other systems, right? Oh man, I don't know the system that they created, but if you say we go boycott, we got them. We already had this planned out. We already knew how they was gonna respond. They're gonna do the boycott thing. They're gonna be divisive about it because some people ain't gonna like it. Al Sharpton gonna jump out there. NAACP go get behind them. Black church go get behind them. The average media radius see this is safe enough, so they go push it. Certain voices, right? They inside their own community go be fighting against each other. They go run parallel campaigns to go at each other, while all at the same time ciphering and using so much energy to try to destroy each other. They're not even focusing on us for real. And so as long as we can wait this out, because they have run the numbers, this ain't gonna really affect the stock, right? This ain't gonna really affect us. We already know what we gonna do. And you can run that in a simple AI and it'll tell you what's gonna happen. So imagine the type of AI they got. Their AI is predicting all of the scenarios. And based on what happens, it's just adjusting in real time. So if we're not, I think my brother Seven Bomar, I think he has his own AI system. I think it's called Sybil.ai. We should be looking at the revolutionaries today are the devs, right? The developers of blockchain applications, or the architects that can help build out new worlds, or the data analysts that actually understand what this large data mean, that we can utilize it for us, or project managers that can help us actually execute and facilitate tasks to get them done, or the philosophers that can teach us how to think during this time to keep us on code. It's not this common idea of revolutionary. It's about who can guide us to build our own world.
Why?
Why what?
Why do all that? Why do all that?
So we can have a safe future.
When you already have hundreds of years of people trying to figure you out and thwart any type of movements that you have going on, why do all that? Why put yourself through the problem? Why become one of those people on the list? Because you're on your way. You're definitely on your way. Why become one of those people? I'm on, yeah, but that's why I won't retire. You know,
this is why my thing is, it ain't about leadership no more. It's just about systems. It ain't about heroes.
Right.
Anybody can die, but the system and the idea continues to perpetuate and live on. And if we make it about the systems, then it don't matter who's here, who's not here. It's just, okay, the only solution is building our own systems. We complain about living in a world owned and controlled by somebody else. We suffer from it. We're depressed. We're sick. We're diseased every single day. Every man in here knows a man that got a mental health issue, an illness, and we don't know how to help them. The money can't do it, right? There's not facilities to help with that. We know that we sick, and we want to see what it's like to actually live a life where we empower. What is it like to, you go outside and you can assume that a black person owns this whole block? Just the assumption, that's a privilege, right? If I'm gonna have a child, I wanna have a child to where when they grow up in the world, they say, man, daddy own this world. You know what I'm saying? Mama own this world, right? They not asking and complaining to say, man, can y'all teach us better? You asking somebody else to teach your child better. That makes no sense. Right. But what it does is, it says as long as they're doing that, we got them. That's the program.
As long as it's not on them, it's not their responsibility.
As long as we're asking them to do something for us, they're winning. But when we stop asking them for anything and we get silent, and that's when they got a problem. You know, our first protest in this country was a silent parade. It was silent. Why? Because they went out there and they had signs. They had signs saying that, man, we got 100,000 acres of land worth $100 million. That was the sign, right? Then they had a list of engineers, brick and mason workers. They had nurses. All the sisters were dressed in a white nurse uniform, like 10,000 of them outside. And it was after a violent issue had happened, I think in East St. Louis. Police killed somebody or something. You know how that go. But instead of them going out there yelling, you know, crying, they said, man, first of all, we got everything to be self-sufficient and govern ourselves. What we telling the government is stay out our way. Right? And that if there's anything for you all to do, a government is supposed to provide opportunity for its people to take advantage of. They put out the list and said, listen, we were the first ones that shed blood for this country. We never tried to assassinate a living president. We lived and died for it. We're essentially building our own, right? Their whole focus was we gonna save ourselves, right? Give us that sovereignty to do so. But more importantly, I looked at it as a message to each other. Because if we was to have them type of marches today, where it's like everybody who signed up, we got 10,000 engineers, we got 20,000 architects, you feel me? We got 15 banks. How does that feel, right? Walking down the street, that's a message to say, okay, y'all messing with us. We don't need y'all no more. We ain't got to yell at nothing. We ain't got to tear nothing up. The most dangerous one ain't violent. It ain't grabbing a gun. You don't win a war like that no more.
Right.
It's saying, you know what? Y'all good on your own. We don't need y'all. We opt out. And we just go build a parallel world and create our own systems.
How many places can you list where that idea was realized and destroyed?
None. I can look at the last economic network that was built was Elijah Muhammad's economic network. It's the blueprint, right? It's saying that he didn't build one city. He had a network of temples all throughout the U.S. He had facilities all throughout the U.S., schools all throughout the U.S., right? He had import and export. They had their own aviation trust school. They had their own plane. They had their own poultry, right? Cutting down their own beef. You know what I'm saying? They had their own restaurants all throughout America. It's a long list of an economic network, not one space in time, right? The problem, but then the question becomes, okay, well, what happened to that? His son took over. Right? Worf Dean did not want to continue the economic model. He started dismantling it. Farrakhan did not take over. Farrakhan was at war with them essentially for 3 years and had to go build from ground up. So we say, okay, well, that was the last model that worked. It worked. He created jobs, he created businesses, and he had the best method to take people out of a world and give them a new identity. He got you a new name, got you to clean up, he changed your habits. Because when you can take people off the frequency they own and shift them to another one, it's the best redeeming method. Then everybody agreed to the same laws, the same code, the same ideas. I see another brother again, I can check you because I know what you say you believe, right? So if we look at that, we say, okay, well, how do we do that in today's time? He left an economic blueprint, how much each person can give. Today we can do that in a different way. It don't even have to be based on religion. Right? We can do that, take a blockchain, have the same exact system with a DAO. You create digital cities, right? We buy physical assets. right? And we have an economic network. So there's a country that did this very well called Estonia. They started early, turning it into a complete digital country. You can go out there and start a business in like 10 minutes because everything is digital, right? They passports, they birth certificates, they social security. I was talking to a Ukrainian the other day. He showed me how all of his relevant documents are on his phone, right? That he can utilize. And we can do that same exact model. And people tried to hack it, attack it. It was resilient. It worked. It passed through. They got it set up to where you can become a digital citizen of Estonia and start a business out there, and you add into their GDP. You bringing money in for them. So imagine the diaspora has a network, right? Now you a citizen of this network. What does that have to do then? It has to get recognized sovereignty. So it's recognized as a state, so you also have rights. That means you got a flag of some kind that you come under. You have an idea that everybody is under. There's real blueprints and models for these things, you know? So for me, I spend time thinking about these things because these questions do come. Okay, well, how do we do it? Again, we have to change the narrative in our mind. It's not that it's impossible. They just want us to think like that. It's that we stop trying.
Right. One thing that you mentioned just now, that when a country is a part of the plan, it makes sense. What country is a part of this plan?
The one we create. It's a digital state, right? First you started digital. If I'll come and run up into all of you all and you got your digital ID that's a part of this. You feel me? Everybody in here shows me that they're a citizen of it. Your business is connected to the GDP of it, right? A part of that taxes that come from your money, man, you sending 5 cents of every transaction over to this community trust. But then because you spend so much, your voting power is a little different. You got a little leverage in this, right? There's systems and mechanisms that we can put in place. DeFi is decentralized finance. It's how you can do your own custodial banking, right? You own your money, not a bank. Nobody's in between your transactions. If I got money, I send it to you. It's peer-to-peer is what they call that.
Right.
So now we got a peer-to-peer education. We got peer-to-peer lending. If I want to lend you money, there's an automatic smart contract. So now you ain't got to trust me. That's our biggest issue. We don't trust each other.
Right.
But if it's the technology, we ain't got to trust each other. The technology works. So now we just have to utilize the technology, right? And based on our codes, we have to have that encoded as a smart contract that locks up. So if I say, look, we going to do business on this podcast. Now, every time somebody pay us, they're going to take the cryptocurrency, send it into a wallet. Both of us have to link our signatures on there to unlock the money. Once we open it, that money will be automatically sent to both of us. So nobody can do nothing funny.
Okay, so I'm guessing for number 3, economics had something to do with that.
I was going to say family.
Family.
You don't have nothing if you ain't got family. I mean, nothing at all.
It's hot for trapper turn smack rapper. Only smack rapper that you know is smack rapper.